Hello and welcome back to
Be
Be So
so
Kind.
kind.
And today we are here with Kim Dawn on behalf of Tallys Fund. But what is Tallys Fund?
So Tallys Fund is a charity that we created when my daughter Tally passed away in 2007. She had brain cancer, and after she died, we started this charity to try to see what we could do to help other families that are also going through brain cancer.
We know that Tally was a very special daughter and person. What was your favorite memory with her?
Well, I think I have a lot of memories with her, but some of my favorite ones are that she loved to laugh and she loved to sing. And we used to sing together all the time because our whole family loves to sing. And she loved playing with her brothers. And so I have lots of memories of just watching them all play together. And she really, really was close to them. And she loved being silly. She always did really silly stuff, like she would make up funny words to a song, or sing a song in a silly way. And yeah, I have lots of memories of her like that. But I kind of think of her, when I think of her, I think of her singing and laughing, I think. Yeah.
What was something that you learned from Tally?
I learned a lot of things from Telly, but I think one of the biggest things that I learned is that no matter what we're going through, even when we're going through really hard times, um, we can always find something to be happy about. We can always find something to smile about. And that was Telly, right? Even though she was going through so much, she still was silly and laughed and found things that made her happy. And I think for me, that was the biggest thing that I remember and the biggest lesson that I learned.
Wow. Do you have a special object or place that especially reminds you of Tally? Why? Does it have a special meaning for you?
Um, I I have lots of things that remind me of her, but let me think. I think she loved. Do you know the show Dora the Explorer?
Yeah.
So she loved Dora the Explorer, and so I think anything that has Dora on it reminds me of her. And I have a blanket that is like a Dora blanket, and so sometimes when I'm thinking about her, I like use that blanket, or I'll sit on it or put it around me, and that kind of makes me feel close to her. Yeah.
Do you have a place that you used to go with her or she really liked?
I think when I go for walks, I think about her because we used to do that a lot. And we used to, she would ride her bike, or we would walk around the neighborhood and we would look at the flowers, and um, we used to look at the sunflowers and talk about how we both loved them. So yeah, I think doing when I go for walks, and I'm in nature, I think about her a lot. Yeah.
Did you know about this particular cancer before she had it? Have you ever heard of it before?
No, I mean, I knew that kids got brain cancer, but I had never heard of this type of cancer before. No.
How did Tally get the rare form of cancer? Is this still rare?
So how she got it, we don't know, because there's still a lot of things that we doctors don't know about why kids get brain cancer. So we still don't really know. Um, and yes, it is still rare, but um, in general, child like kids who get cancer, it's considered rare, right? If children get cancer, that's considered rare because compared to the number of adults who get cancer and compared to the diseases in the world, it's considered rare, but it isn't really that rare because a lot of kids get cancer. um, and for the type of tumor that Telly had, it was called ATRT. So it's a type of what's called an embryonal brain tumor, which is a tumor that develops before, you don't really know, but the cells of it develop before the child is even born. And there are a few other tumors like that, like ATRT. And what we know about those kind of tumors is that a quarter of all brain tumors in children, so like 25% of all brain tumors in children that happen under the age of 1 are that type of tumor. So you can consider it rare, but it's also in some ways it's not so rare. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Tell us about the impact of Tally's sickness and passing that had on you and her brothers.
Um, Obviously, it was very, very hard for our whole family at the beginning. It's something that you never think that you're going to go through, and it was really hard for us. But I think that we learned a lot from it. As the years have gone by, we've learned a lot. Um, for example, we learned to appreciate everything that we have. We learn to make the best of all the good things that we have in our life. And we learn that we can go through really, really hard things and we can still get through them, and we can still find ways to be happy in our life even after going through something so, so hard, right? Um, I always think about it as like um, when something horrible first happens, it's like you have a big hole in your heart, right? And the hole takes up your whole heart. And then over time, you can find other things that make you happy, other things to laugh about and smile about and be happy about. And so the hole never goes away. It's always there, but you can find other things to also make you happy. So the hole kind of gets smaller. It doesn't take up your whole heart. So that's a
Yeah.
lot of the things we learned, I think, as a family, right?
Do you know if anyone else in your family died from this cancer?
No, nobody else in our family did. Yeah, that's a good question though, but no.
Tell us about why you decided to create Tallys Fund.
So, after Telly passed away, we learned, even when she was still sick, we learned that doctors didn't really know a lot about how to treat this type of tumor. And so after she passed away, we thought, okay, we want to see what we can do about that. We want to see if we can maybe help other families going through this, to see if maybe in the future other families might not have to go through what we went through. Um, yeah, I would say that's why we started it, to see if we could help other families.
What do you hope to achieve from Tally's Fund?
So we've been working for about 16 years already, right, on Tallys Fund. And what we hope to achieve is to help doctors and researchers find a cure for certain kinds of rare brain tumors. And the, the problem is that the kind of treatment that they have now for brain tumors um, sometimes has to um, cause damage to a child, like when they do the treatment. It's very intense treatment, and sometimes it can cause brain damage. So even if a child survives, they can still be left with some problems for the rest of their life. So one of the things that Tallys Fund is trying to do is to help doctors and researchers to find ways to treat these kind of tumors, so that not only will the kids survive, but also they won't have as much brain damage and they can live good, healthy lives. So it's kind of safer treatments also, right? So that's one of the things that we work on through Tallys Fund, helping doctors find a cure, find treatment. And then the other thing we like to do is we like to support other families that are going through some kind of cancer, childhood cancer, right? So, um, and it doesn't have to be a brain tumor, but families who have a child with cancer. So we have a whole section on our website that has all kinds of ideas for families that are going through it, or even other people. Let's say you know someone who their family is going through cancer treatment, then we have all kinds of different ideas of like presents that you can buy for them and things that you can do to support them. So we try to help families kind of find these things, find ideas of and to support them when they're going through the cancer treatment.
Who is Dr. Huang? What does she have to do with Tallys Fund?
So Dr. Annie Wang was actually one of Telly's doctors.
Oh,
Yeah, and she was amazing, and she still is. And what happened is that she was the doctor that we went to when after Telly passed away. Her Telly's dad and I went to this doctor and asked her if she could start some research, um, and that's kind of how we started the research. But all through these years, we've continued to support her research. So she is a doctor at Sick Kids Hospital. She's an oncologist, a neuro-oncologist at Sick Kids Hospital, and she's also a researcher at what's called the Brain Tumor Research Center, which is
yeah.
part of Sick Kids Hospital, but where they do the research, right? And so she's been the one that's kind of been doing all this research. And since we started many years ago, they've made so much progress that now Dr. Huang is very well known all over the world for the research that she's done and all the things that they've learned and accomplished.
When she died, how did her brothers feel about this, or how did everyone feel about this at first?
Well, at first it's kind of a shock, right? Even though she was very sick and we knew that she might not survive, but at first it's kind of hard to believe that that actually happened, right? So it was hard, and we had to work through it together as a family to deal with something that was so devastating and so hard, right? But over time, it got better, right? And we learned how to deal with it as a family.
What kind of things does Tallys Fund do? What's the money that's raised used for?
So um, it's kind of two questions. So one is the things that we do. So we do all kinds of different events, and we used to do a lot of like in-person events. But now after COVID, we started to do some online events as well. So we do a bit of both. And the money that we raise goes towards research for childhood brain cancer at Sick Kids Hospital, mostly at Sick Kids Hospital. And we also work together now with other charities that kind of do similar things. We kind of combine our, like, let's say they raise money and we raise money, and we combine it all together so that we can give more money for research, right? So that's the biggest thing that we do. And then we also try and use the money to be able to share the resources that I told you about, like for families that are going through cancer treatment.
Did the research advance since you first started Tally's Tally's Fund?
Yes, the research advanced a lot, way more than we even thought that it ever could, um, because they found out some really important things that could potentially really save kids' lives, and be safer for kids. Um, and if you go to our website, you'll find there's a page that says Our Impact, and on that page there's a timeline starting from when we first started with Tallys Fund until today in 2023, and it really shows how much progress we've made and how much more the doctors and researchers know now, and kind of what the next steps are going to be.
Thank you for meeting with us. It has been awesome to talk to you. We learned a lot.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your taking the time to learn about Tallys Fund and to ask me all these questions. So.
And here's the money that we got from the food stands.
Wow. Thank you so much, guys. That is amazing. I'm so appreciative of what you did. And I love when kids get involved with Tallys Fund. I think that you're setting such a good example for other kids to do these beautiful, kind things. And I hope that other kids learn from the things that you do and maybe choose to do those kinds of things themselves, right? Whether it's for Tallys Fund or for anything else, right?
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much. Oh, thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish you strength to rise unafraid, like the morning sun, taking on the day. Because when you shine, you light up the place. So I wish you strength. I wish you faith, that you'll overcome whatever you face until your journey is done. Beyond any words.
Be kind whenever possible.
It is always possible.